Alright, hey guys, it's been a while since I made a review. I'm back with Everything Everywhere All at Once. Now, I do believe this is truly the multiverse movie of the year 2022. Michelle Yeoh was super in this film, but Stephanie Su as well. Amazing, amazing actress. I did not expect such a fantastic and character driven performance by all of the actors in this film. Now, this film has a lot of action, has a lot of flair, has a lot of insane and colorful visuals. It truly has the same characters in every multiverse, and there are different variants of themselves, and you don't have a very like you even have moments where they do go into other multiverses to fight against each other or to communicate against each other, and you truly get to see not only the creators imagination and world come to life, but you also get this very emotional story which is truly about the child seeking approval from their parent. And this happens to Michelle Yeoh's daughter. It happens to Michelle Yeoh herself as well as a daughter once upon a time, where she was seeking the approval of her father. And this vicious cycle goes on. And Everything Everywhere All at Once is actually more so of um, a very how do you call it? Yeah, it's a very character-driven story, I would say. I think that's the easiest way to put it. It's basically the story about how a child, in this case, Stephanie Sue, who is playing Joy, in one of the multiverses, Evelyn, who is her mother, pushes her beyond her limits. And in that particular universe, which is known as the Alphaverse, Evelyn is apparently some sort of infamous scientist, and she pushes Joy beyond the limits of the multiverse. And Joy ends up having this ability to switch between universes. So it's called verse jumping, and she basically like gains the ability to verse jump by herself. Now, Evelyn eventually unlocks this similar ability, and thanks to the motivation of her husband, Wayman Wang, who's played by Ki Hui Kwan, reminded me very much of Jackie Chan, and I really like this guy. I think he has, a fantastic personality, fantastic sort of ability to bring humor to the screen, and also be a what do you call this, still a livable father sort of husband figure as well. I think he really pulls that off really well. They also have this hilarious grandfather, James Hong, who plays Gong Gong, and we have Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays this accountant, basically an auditor, who helps them settle their taxes. And she's amazing, she's hilarious. I think everyone played a fantastic job, but this is mainly focused on Michelle Yeoh and Stephanie Su's performance, where they play this mother and daughter who go through a very emotional what do you call this story. It's basically them battling against each other with their multiversal powers, and also trying to understand the motives of each other, trying not to make the universe collapse and collapse at the same time, because they're both having this duality between whether they just want to be peaceful and let things carry on as is, or really want to push humanity beyond the limits to see something different happen. Because like us just questioning our world and our life and the meaning of life itself is sort of what this story faintly touches on, but that's not really the focus. The real focus is this mother and daughter relationship, parent and child relationship. And I think that was very well carried out in this. The imaginations of all the creators and the artists are really well portrayed. We do get to see them fight in various multiverses. We do get to see them in comic version characters fighting, sausage finger characters fighting, and they did go pretty crazy, but not too crazy. Not as insane as some other cartoons I've seen in the past and what's not. But they did do something really, really awesome. They had a lot of fantastic fight scenes, and the fights sort of worked in the format Matrix fights worked. So I feel it's more metaphorical rather than physical, or rather actually something tangible. I even feel that in the Matrix, it's more so of a metaphorical fight, in the sense where Neo, them all being basically being these strings in technology, are just using data to fight each other. And yeah, it's not really actual like physical fights that's doing direct damage, but more so damaging the data in their universe. And I felt that the fights as well in this story sort of portrayed something similar, where they are just there to give you that extra bit of action, that extra bit of storytelling, and more so focus on the concept that why are they fighting, why is the mother and child fighting, why is there conflict between them, and it's actually because they have unresolved stress and this unworkable relationship basically that they want to try to fix, and the story tries to fix, and it did such a fantastic job. I think it also reminds me of how the fights were put into what is that story? Sucker Punch. Yeah, it's also very metaphorical in Sucker Punch, where it all happens within their heads. But in this one, though, however, everything everywhere all at once, the Alphaverse and the multiverse is very real. It is not metaphorical in any way. However, I think the story itself is trying to portray it in such a way that why do we have to keep constantly going through this cycle of disapproval from our parents and the constant arguing and bickering and all of these emotional stress, and the child being rebellious, and basically just repeating this insane cycle that I think all of us would have gone through at least once in our lives, because I think that's just how the parent and child relationship is meant to work. Too much what do you call these expectations, or very high expectations, is just harmful. Sometimes there's even basically, who doesn't micromanage the child, but yeah, micromanagement throughout their lives, because the parent is just so used to telling the child what to do that they can't get out of the habit. They can't get out of the habit of just letting the child be who they're supposed to be. Is I believe Evelyn in the story, the daughter, is also gay. She's lesbian with some other girl, and they also touch on the fact that she tries to reveal her what do you call this homosexuality to her grandfather, which her mother struggles to help her do. The mother accepts it, but the mother thinks that she's not being serious. It's a temporary thing. It's sort of a phase that she's going through. Something that I believe a lot of parents just, try to understand. And, there's definitely a lot of denial, a sense of denial, which is, I think, very true for every parent. If you know there's something, wrong or different about every child that you can't really accept, there's a lot of denial in that relationship. A lot of parents can't accept that their children have what do you call this? Yeah, in this case, they're homosexual, which is a little bit more normal than those children who are just having Down syndrome, which is just unfortunate. That they have to go through that, and there's still a lot of denial on that. Sometimes it's just more so about pushing the child through the talents of the parents, like the parents are engineers or doctors, and they want the child to do the same, but the child just wants to be perhaps an artist, or perhaps a comic writer, or maybe just some person who likes to take photos and sell photos online, and they can't accept that the child is not more successful, or at least as successful as them, or successful in the terms that they set. And yeah, I think that was very well delivered here. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm maybe sort of giving it a little bit extra pads here and there, but in the core itself, it's a really fun story. It's super performance from amazing actors, really close up, nice, beautiful shots, as well as these fantastic action sequences. Let me see if I can actually get. Yeah, these are just them, like Michelle Yeoh tapping into one of her other multiverse characters, who is an advertising, like a person who holds this advertisement board and swings the board around. So she takes a skill from that character to try to fight everyone with the shield that she steals. So yeah, very interesting, and very well done. It's not overdone. It's just very well done. This is a universe where there are rocks. And yeah, there's a lot of 18 plus references and scenes, dildos and stuff like that. So don't take your kids for this. So don't ever watch this with your kids. But as adults, it's super fun, super hilarious, and I think in its core, it has a really good lesson. It's a fantastic movie overall. I personally, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very refreshing, absolutely insane, absolutely, like they went all out, right? And that's the kind of films we want to see. It doesn't matter how crazy it is, how you know off the rails it is. This amazing dedication and just storytelling to that's true to its core and serious to its craft. I think is what really will drive movies like these and make them something very unique and very special. And IMDb has given it a very very good rating, and I think it's a very well deserved rating. So anyway, let me pull mine up. Just give me a sec. I think you probably guessed that mine's not gonna be that high, but it's gonna be pretty high as well. I must say. Now for some reason I cannot edit this. I have no idea why. Great. The uh, what do you call this? OBS and IMDb trying to block me from rating. I'm just kidding. So yeah, it's a 7 out of 10 for me. I think my main issues with the film is just the fact that it tries to do everything at once, and that's pretty much part of the story's point, but it tries to achieve too many things in one go. And you're jumping between fight sequences to emotional sequences and to fight sequences, and some of the transitions are really well done. Like that's what they're trying to achieve in this story, is to show you how they can go from emotion to fights to and fro. But it feels like despite all these world-ending, world-bending, and insane, uh, like metaverse, multiverse kind of concept, the stakes are super low. There's really no risk at all to the actual world out there. The world itself feels very small because it's more so a character-driven story. It's more so an emotional story. Just down to its core, it's very much a very specific tale between a mother and daughter. Also, I feel that some of the characters, motivations, they come and go. Like they have a lot of side stories that they try to put in. Basically, story of the husband and how the husband is someone that the wife always underestimates because he just doesn't seem very smart or intelligent. He just seems to be some kind of a loser, I guess, in this situation that they're trying to show. It's sort of a Magoo character, I guess. And then he turns out to be someone who just wins his battles in his way, which is by using his words and his emotions and his calm demeanor. He picks the right words and he fights with peace, and that's sort of his story. And I felt that that wasn't done that well because it was just overshadowed by this mother and daughter relationship who really went through the multiverse. The dad was not entirely involved in that, and also the grandfather whose motivations all of a sudden come to the surface, where the Alphaverse Gong Gong actually wants to help to kill the daughter. Like his story as well was not that strong, I felt. And then you actually have a scene where Michelle Yeoh uses her powers to sort of defeat this large group of enemies by satisfying all of them with hilarious tools and weapons and whatever. And I found that super funny, super captivating. But that's all just humor and flair, and that was great. But I guess that only affects the people who are fighting her, but the rest of the people in the world, and all the unsatisfied people, and all the problems that are there still continue to exist. The cycle continues to exist. And they come down to the sort of the resolution of the story, which is that's just the way things are going to be. We got to appreciate what we got to have and whatever. But it doesn't solve the fact that the problem is still there. Problem is always going to be there. And I think you're always going to have a husband who you think is a loser, or a daughter you hate. And that sort of core is not entirely addressed. It's just more so that Michelle Yeoh was lucky that she had a daughter who was a multiverse villain who came to fight her, and she had the powers to defeat her, and therefore they managed to solve that conflict among themselves, and that was pretty much it. So trying to address that, this is the issue around that's affecting everyone, sort of thing. I felt that it was not really very well attached to the core story. So yeah, this is the part where she actually defeats a bunch of villains who come at her by satisfying them with various tools and weapons, and I found this scene absolutely amazing. But yeah, it's just mostly comic relief. um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. A lot of cringe moments as well. That's funny, cringe in a good way because it's comes together with comedy. But as I said, the stakes are not that high considering the intensity that they try to show. How at the start of the story, you actually see people getting straight up murdered, and then all of a sudden they're not getting straight up murdered. It's just the sudden transition where all of a sudden the daughter is not as terrifying as she was in the start, and the horror elements sort of get diminished as the story goes on, and it becomes full on comedy. Just felt really I don't know, weird and out of place, a little bit, because it had something really good going on, and then it just turned into something else entirely. Regardless, I think these two did a superb, put up a superb performance. Amazing story, a must watch if you ask me. I think honestly, these are the kind of films that we really lack the true multiverse films that are super super cool and super funny and enjoyable. So yeah, anyway, let me know if you guys have watched it. Let me know what you guys think, and if you have not, I really recommend this movie for you guys. It's hilarious. It's amazing. Not for your kids, but surely something that this is the sausage verse, where they have fingers. Their fingers are sausages or whatever. This is Michelle Yeoh's actual world, where she's an actress and a martial artist. Nothing new about that. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.